Let's walk the talk.
702.
So I wanted to chat to you about affection between you and the missus or you and the husband, and if you do it in front of your children. If I think back to growing up, I didn't really see lots of affection with my mom and dad. I mean, there was the odd little hug here, but no sitting on the couch with each other, no holding hands, no like kissing. But they would, if my dad came home from work, he would give my mom a kiss on the lips, but nothing over the top. But there was some affection, right? But in most of the conversations that I've had today with people, they're saying to me that they grew up in households where there was hardly any affection between the parents. So as young children, you would be watching your parents, but you wouldn't see any affection. So you knew they loved each other, but you didn't see any affection. So I wanted to ask you this afternoon if you grew up in a household with affection, so your parents showed affection and openly showed affection to each other in front of you, or did they not? And how has that led to your adult relationships with your significant other and your children? Do you show affection in front of your children now? If you have children and you are married, or you have children with a partner. I'd love to get your thoughts on that one this afternoon on 011 883 0702 and 082 82311. What's the WhatsApp? I've got completely confused. The WhatsApp number is 072 702 1702.
We're getting there.
I was listening to Relebogile the other day. She had that youngster in. She was talking about
She
muscle memory.
Yes,
yeah.
muscle memory.
I've got to work on my muscle memory.
I guess you don't.
I've only been in this industry for how long? Jeez. I don't have muscle memory yet. But I'd love to get your thoughts on that one. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I saw a video the other day of a couple. They were dancing in their lounge. They were doing a little slow dance together, right? And behind them was a young girl. She was sitting on the couch and she was watching them in amazement. And she had this beautiful little smile, just watching her parents have a little slow dance there in the lounge, which I thought was really, really beautiful. Now, she may grow up and think, that's the way it should be, and she'll have maybe healthy adult relationships. I don't know, but I thought to myself, yeah, that's a really beautiful thing to do, because often we kind of think we can't do these things, or we shouldn't do these things in front of our children. So Mr. Jali, our traffic guru, is sitting in studio here, and I wanted to chat to you about you growing up, in your household with your mum and dad. Did they have show affection for each other?
Hardly ever. Actually, it just didn't happen much. It only happened maybe during celebrations. Maybe my dad's got a promotion. It's like, oh, well done, huggy, kissy. But on a normal day, when my dad comes from work and it's like, hey, how was your day? That's it. Like, bye. No. At least your parents kissed when they met after a hard day's work. Yeah, so hardly ever. But then I was exposed to other families being affectionate.
Okay.
So I grew up in Katlehong, where my neighbors, they were also like my parents were never affectionate. And then I moved to the suburbs, where I got experience of other people, like white people, who I think they were more generally affectionate when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So my friends' parents would come back from work, kiss, hug, hold hands, sit on the couch, have wine together, those kind of cozy little moments. And I'll be like, okay. And then I grew up to be kind of like that as well. I adopted that kind of affection.
So with you've got a little boy.
Yes.
So with you and him with your missus.
Yeah, you should see him when like me and we're having a little smoochy moment there. And then
little smoochy moment.
You'll be staring at us like all shy and giggly. It's like, what are you guys doing? That is cute. And it's all fun and games.
Wait till he's a teenager. He's going to be like, oh, come on, Dad, really? That's gross. So that's Mr. Jali. Thanks for sharing your story there, Mr. Jali. Really appreciate it. So I'd love to get yours. Growing up in a household with affection or lack of affection, how has it influenced your adult relationships? And have you maybe thought to yourself, well, I'm doing it differently. I'm going to be very affectionate with my partner, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to be very affectionate with my partner in front of my children and let them see. I mean, there's lots of research that says showing affection in front of your children has many, many benefits. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that one this afternoon. Do give us a WhatsApp call and a phone call on 011 883 0702. We are, by the way, streaming on YouTube, the 702 YouTube channel. So if you want to have a look at that, you're most welcome to. Face for Radio. Don't fall off your chair if you do catch a glimpse of me. It isn't a pleasant sight, but, we are streaming. So lots of people like to kind of see what it's like to be in a radio environment. So you can comment as well. There's a section there for comments. So you can comment there and leave your comments that way as well. Please do. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
So whilst we wait for your stories and calls to come through, what else is taking place on the show this afternoon? So after the 1:30 news at around about 20 to 2, it's Belief Matters, and this is a regular conversation or feature that the team has every Thursday on the show. And with Belief Matters today, we're going to be talking about organ donation, sperm donation, egg donation, and why in some cultures this is still a taboo. So there's so much to unpack there. So we're going to open up the lines to you as well to give your thoughts on this one for Belief Matters, because there's so many angles there to look at. So, spiritually, culturally, what your culture believes, maybe you kind of have modernized the culture to an extent that you now think these certain things are acceptable. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that just after the 1:30 news. And then, as always, on a Thursday after the 2 p.m. news, we're going to be chatting to the consumer ninja, Wendy Knowler. And this story is an interesting one, because if you've ever bought something from a store, an appliance store, and you want it delivered, they don't give it to you for free. You've always got to pay, right? So there's a guy who got in touch with Wendy who ordered a oven. He ordered it from a store that's in Benoni, and he lives in Bethlehem. Now, that's a bit of a distance. That's 400 kilometers, so you can understand that there's a charge for that. He was charged 1,500 Rand. And then when the guys arrived, the courier company arrived to deliver the oven, he uncovered something. So we'll give you a little bit of those details after 2 o'clock. So stay tuned for that one. Some might assume that switching from the world's largest collaboration suite to Google Workspace would be challenging, but the data set tells a different story. Most users feel more confident using Google Workspace within just 3 months than they ever did with traditional platforms. And because it's fully compatible with legacy apps, there's no need to reformat files or disrupt your workflow. Contact DigiCloud Africa to learn how Google Workspace stacks up against your current solution and to start your 30-day trial. info@digicloud.africa. When thinking Google Cloud, think DigiCloud Africa.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,268. I love payday because my salary would look huge to 15-year-old me, but that's in 2011 money, not 2024 money. 28-year-old me is not so easily embraced.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct, to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Every small business owner knows that you've got to dream big to achieve even bigger. And Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands that it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all the SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent and expand and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dreams. So if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So if you just joined us, it's 20 minutes past 1, and we asked you about growing up in a home where your parents showed affection to each other in front of you. Let's take a listen to what some of you have had to say so far.
Good afternoon, Jonah. I never saw affection between my parents. I only saw it once. It was one time when my mom was traveling, and it was the first time we dropped her off at the airport, and my dad kissed her on the lips, and she was so weirded out by it, like it was something so foreign. You could swear they never had kids together. But yeah, that was the one and only time. Otherwise, it was more friction than affection.
Yo, Mr. Khabazela.
Yo.
I grew up in a household where there was no affection, none whatsoever. None. I think the last time I saw my dad giving my mom a kiss was literally on their wedding pictures. I'm 42 years old today. Both my parents are still alive. And I tell you, Khabazela, I have never seen my... Actually, I'm driving to my parents' house as we speak. I'm actually going to force my dad to just give my mom a hug, at least in front of me. Lebo from Vereeniging. Thanks, Khabazela.
Khabazela, great, interesting topic. I grew up in quite an affectionate household. Saw my mom and dad hug each other, give each other pecks on the cheek, on the lips, cuddle on the couch while watching movies. And I think it has influenced my relationships, and I'm pretty okay with PDA and public displays of affection and things like that. Hand holding in public and things like that, or hugs or cuddles. So yeah, that was my experience.
Lovely, that's a good one. So I mean, we only had one there so far coming through, but Lebo, who's driving to his parents' home now, when you get there, do ask them, just say maybe like, why did you not be affectionate with each other? I'd love to know the answer, because there's always a story behind these things, right? So, Lebs, when you do get there, ask the question, and then if you have some feedback from us, or if they do give that hug, take a photo as well and send it to us on WhatsApp. We'd love to see that one. But I mean, yeah, it's such an interesting thing about showing affection. Some people feel completely awkward showing affection in front of their children. And it doesn't mean that the parents don't love each other. It's just maybe they have different ways of showing it, right? And then those who did show affection, I mean, did you ever sit there and think, oh, no, what? Oh, my parents kiss? Or, was it awkward for you maybe growing up and watching it? And now as an adult, how are you doing things? Have you kind of followed the same pattern in terms of showing affection, or have you changed the pattern and maybe you are affectionate? And the other thing that I wanted to take is they might not have been affectionate with each other in front of you, but maybe when that bedroom door is closed, you never know, right? But were they affectionate to you? Because maybe you grew up with a very affectionate mother, but your dad was quite standoff. And, that can also shape things. So I'd love to get your thoughts on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Looking at some of the WhatsApps that are coming through here, we got one from Amy. Children emulate what they see. Good, healthy affection and relationships need to be seen. Love should be shown. As parents, my husband and I are affectionate towards each other in full view of our little ones. Along with that, we also have tough conversations in front of them too. It's also a part of a healthy relationship. Yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting one, Amy. Having difficult conversations is a different perspective I actually didn't think of. And then there's fighting. I mean, I think sometimes we're happy to fight with each other in front of children, but then awkward to show affection. I wonder why. Why is it? Is it maybe because we grow up thinking that children shouldn't see these things? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one? Let us know. Darren Williams, he says, hey, great topic. Observational learning is a critical part of childhood development. That includes what the concepts of love and affection mean. More broadly, I think we struggle to define what love means to us, the values and behaviors it comprises. Part of the reason is that these concepts aren't well modeled for us in childhood. Yeah, I mean, thanks for that one, Darren. I really appreciate your thoughts. Let's go back to the WhatsApp line and see what you have to say.
Good afternoon, 702 listeners and the presenter there. To my thoughts pertaining this topic, which is a very good one, I will say in the 90s, I grew up very well. We grew up in an atmosphere of respect and honor. Our parents, I cannot recall even a single day where I saw them holding each other like in a naughty way. But when they hold their hands, you could have that feeling that that's my mom and dad. They had that thing. There was that dignity in between them. So it's unlike this time. This time around, it's tough, and I think even last it's really rolling our minds, whereby we are even failing to control ourselves in the presence of our children. So I really think that our children are seeing a lot of things from us. Some because we are not having enough space in our places where we stay. Some is just a two-shack room. And you find that when you are busy there, they could hear the sounds and all those kind of things. Some, it's only one room. They come in and then they do their own thing, thinking that the child is sleeping, only to find out the child is watching them. So our children are too exposed to these kind of things, which is really not good. But at my growing time, I grew up and I could even hold myself until I reached, I think it was 22 years, without even meeting a single girl in my life. So that's how we grew up. That's how I grew up. We had that thing. We need to keep ourselves. We didn't know all those kind of things. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, Khabazela. I'm from Runback. It's an interesting topic that you guys are having. I actually realize now that I've never seen my parents kiss or hug in front of us. I'm also those ones, like the guy who just called in now. Funny enough, I'm very affectionate. I do it, but I cannot tell where I got it from. I don't know where I got it from. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, thanks for those voice notes. Really interesting points made from both of those, and also especially if you grew up in a household or in the rural areas perhaps where there weren't separations with bedrooms and all that can influence things, I suppose. So really, really good, interesting points there and different perspectives, which I really, really appreciate. I mean, and it's fascinating to if you think about it, you just didn't realize your parents didn't kiss or anything like that in front of you. And if they are still alive, if you're fortunate to have your parents still alive, maybe just chat to them and find out what was the reasons. I'd love to know what some of the reasons were. As I said, my dad and mom were fairly affectionate, not overly affectionate at all. I mean, if we went to a shopping center, they wouldn't be holding hands. And then I suppose maybe the point comes in is when the children arrive, there's maybe a little separation that takes place. So maybe before you and I arrived, they were affectionate. And then I came along, you came along, and it kind of put a little wedge, and the mom was always focused on you, or your dad was focused on you, and they kind of maybe forgot each other along the way. That could maybe be an issue as well. But I don't know. What's your thoughts? 011 883 0702 1702 and the WhatsApps. Let's hear what you have to say.
Hey, good afternoon, Khabazela and the listeners. It's quite refreshing to hear your voice this time of the day.
Thank you.
Well, when we grew up, our parents never really showed affection towards each other. But with me having kids, I do show affection to my wife, even though we're in front of our kids. I think it's good for them. They really need to see that if people are in love, they need to show appreciation towards each other. Thanks.
Yeah, I love that. I also hope if one day we are blessed with a child, that we would be affectionate with each other in front of the little one. Some of the other WhatsApps coming through here from Magister. Good day, 702. I used to give my wife kisses every day when I am from work in front of my kids, but I decided to stop since I have received a call from my daughter's school, grade 3, stating that she gave her classmate a kiss. When we confronted her, she said, Dad gives mom kisses as well. Ah, grade 3. I mean, that's quite sweet, eh? Who did she kiss? Yes, so she gave the classmate a kiss. Oh, but that's so innocent. So I wouldn't stop doing that. Maybe just chat with her and say you can't, just go randomly kiss your classmate. But that's a very sweet story there, I must say. I see Gershon Busak is watching on YouTube, and he says, Wayne Rooney, we see you in studio. Have a great show streaming on YouTube. Yo, I nearly fell off my chair,
Coming to think of it, I'm seeing the
Mr.
Rooney
Khabazela, we were good friends, and now we're not. But it's 1:30 and time for EWN with Mbali.
Thanks, Jono. A very good afternoon. Minister of Cooperative Governance, Velengosini Hlabisa, says the relocation of families living along floodplains needs to be prioritized. Hlabisa made the comments in the Eastern Cape today, where inclement weather has left a trail of destruction. 57 people have been killed since heavy rain and flooding hit parts of the province this week. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the country is making advances towards building the green hydrogen industry with more than 1.49 billion rand invested in hydrogen projects. He made the comments while delivering a keynote address at the Green Hydrogen Summit in Century City in Cape Town today. And debate continues around the effectiveness of broad-based black economic empowerment, with some minority groups arguing the policy has failed to deliver its intended outcomes. A new study released by the think tank Free Market Foundation and minority lobby group Solidarity outlines the costs associated with triple BEE compliance. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards Rivoli, there's still slow-moving traffic on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. In Brakpan, heading towards Benoni, traffic is sluggish on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land not looking too bad. No serious accidents have been reported on our highways. Otherwise, look out for those faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road. Traffic lights also not working in Alex at Far East Bank and Marlborough Drive. Heading towards Pretoria, I see some delays. This is in the Eastland area on Linwood Road. This is approaching Solomon Mahlangu. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
What are members of the executive doing with your taxpayer money? Lerato Ngobeni, Action SA's parliamentary chief whip, wants answers.
When we ask what was the value of the trip, what is the return on investment for the country, you never get the answer. In the case of Minister Ntshabeni, the whole of South Africa was watching when that contingent was in the White House, and none of them said a single word. Why were they there? And we as South Africans deserve a response.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
This Youth Month, the call is clear. South Africa's future needs you. One job opportunity is all it takes to spark catalytic change. Youth employment transforms lives, uplifts a community, and fuels the economy. With Youth Employment Service, yes, your business becomes a launch pad for future-ready talent and sustainable growth. Over 1,840 companies have stepped up. Will you? One job, countless futures. Visit yesforyouth.co.za and join today.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Andries is all in when it comes to Audis, while Mark is your Mercedes-Benz man, Figile is a Ford fanatic, and Isaac is incontestably the Isuzu guru. JP will find you your perfect GAC, and to Oscar, there's only one car, the Jaguar. You see, our people know their stuff, and we know our people. We know that without them, there are no happy customers. There are no sales, no service. Our people are our passion, because they know people like you. Bidvest McCarthy, our people deliver, always.
Girls and Boys Town isn't just a children's home. It's where broken childhoods find a second chance. Tomorrow on 702 Drive with John Perman, we'll shine a light on the work of Girls and Boys Town South Africa to find out how it takes to create a place of deep healing, structure and love for children in need. This meaningful discussion is brought to you by the Dis-Chem Foundation. Remember, when you swipe your Dis-Chem or Baby City benefit card, you help support life-changing initiatives like Girls and Boys Town. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community, every swipe counts.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
So if you've just joined us, it's Khabazela standing in for Relebogile Mabotja. Just for today, she'll be back with you tomorrow. And we're talking about love, but not our love lives. It's your parents' love lives. So growing up, did you ever see your mom and dad hold hands? Did they kiss? Did they say, I love you to each other in front of you? And for a lot of us and a lot of the WhatsApps that are coming through here this afternoon, the answer is no. So why do you think that is? Why do you think so many parents are not affectionate with each other in front of their children? I'd love to get your thoughts on that one this afternoon. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. You know, I thought this song might be a little bit appropriate to play. I was driving to golf a couple of weekends ago and I heard it come up on the radio. And I was picturing a young Luther Vandross dancing with his father. It's a beautiful song. Let's take a listen.
Back when I was a child, before life removed all the innocence, my father would lift me high and dance with my mother and me, and then spin me around till I fell asleep. Then up the stairs he would carry me, and I knew for sure I was loved. If I could get another chance, another walk, another dance with him, I'd play a song that would never ever end. How I'd love, love, love to dance with my father again. Ooh. When I and my mother would disagree, To get my way, I would run from her to him. He'd make me laugh just to comfort me. Yeah, yeah. Then finally make me do just what my mama said. Later that night when I was asleep, he left $1 under my sheet. Never dreamed that he would be gone from me. If I could steal one final glance, one final step, one final dance with him, I'd play a song that would never, ever end. 'Cause I'd love, love, love to dance with my father again.
Such a beautiful song. Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father Again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a thing, hey? I mean, there Luther dancing with his father in the kitchen. Beautiful moment about between son and father. Some would think, no, I can't dance with my son in the kitchen. That's a bit weird. But it's not really, if you think about it, hey? So if you've just joined us, it's 20 minutes to 2. We are talking about why so many parents are not really affectionate with each other in front of their children. And we've received so many WhatsApps and voice notes this afternoon, and thank you very much for those. And the majority of them have been that, no, their parents were not affectionate in front of them when they were young children. And maybe they have changed, maybe that's changed the way you have grown up now, and you married when you have children. Maybe you are affectionate with your wife or your husband in front of your children. Let's take a listen to what your voice notes have to say.
Not even by mistake have I ever seen them. Even holding hands, doing whatever, nothing. Not even a kiss, nothing. Not even hello baby, nothing. I've never seen. And I thought it was taboo to do that to your wife or something, you see.
Hello, Mr. Khabazela and the team. Well, I was raised by my grandparents. My grandfather was born in 1929. My grandmother was born in 1931. So they were very old school. So I've never seen them kiss. I only seen them kiss only once. It was, I think, 1998 on New Year's Eve after we had just finished praying. Wow. So we were hugging each other for the new year. So that was once, and then I never saw it again. Same in Alberton.
Marlon and Sam here in Winchester Hills. We're having such a good laugh because none of our parents were affectionate. I only ever saw my father give my mother a kiss on a birthday and on an anniversary. And Sam says her parents were the same. No affection in front of the kiddies. Good show.
Yeah, thanks very much for the messages and thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore about the majority of us who grew up not seeing parents being affectionate. So maybe it's changing. I don't know. Maybe that was the way it was in the olden days, to put it mildly, and things have changed now. Maybe it's less traditional parenting. I don't know. So if you have parents now, are you affectionate with your children? Love to know. There was a voice note, Abel, that came through from Sam in Alberton. What did he say? He hasn't even heard his mom and dad say, hello, my darling, hello, my baby. Well, maybe we should play him this song, eh?
Hey, baby, hey, hey, beautiful girl, sing. Hey, baby, hey, 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 beautiful girl. Hey, baby, hey, sing. Hey, baby, hey, 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 beautiful girl. Come along to kiss me. Before I'm going, come along to kiss me. Before I'm going, don't you kiss me, nice. Before I'm going, going, don't you kiss me, nice, nice. Before I'm going, come along, come along, come along. Yo, yo, yo. Don't you meditate, sing. Don't you meditate. I send a messenger to tell you that I want to meet you at the station. Come along to kiss me. Before I'm going, come along to kiss me. Before I'm going, don't you kiss me, nice, nice. Before I'm going, don't you kiss me, nice, nice. Before I'm going, come along, come along, come along. Yo, yo, yo. Hello, 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 my baby. Hello, my baby. Hello, 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 my baby. Hello, my baby.
Hey, darling, you asked me to come along. Here I am.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my chocolate. Hello, my baby. Hello, my baby.
Darling, before the night falls, after going home, Mom needs me, she's alone.
Hello, my sweetheart.
Hey, darling, here I come to kiss.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. That's the part I was waiting to get into for Lebo from Alberton. But yeah, I mean, wonderful conversation we've had this afternoon with regards to affection and growing up. And maybe it's made you think. It certainly has made me think about affection, and if I have children one day, how I would be in front of them. And if you're lucky enough to have your parents still alive, go and ask them. Just go and have that conversation with them as to why they didn't, and then you'll know.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
So on the 15th of August, South Africa will gather for what is being called a national dialogue to set the agenda for a national dialogue that will, quote, chart a way for the country and drive progress towards Vision 23.
We've had too many talk shops about investment or about this. No. What we need are some hard choices. When we're sitting with 15 to 16 years of stagnant growth, growing poverty, growing unemployment, and we're not really getting anywhere.
Anne Bernstein, head of the Centre for Development and Enterprise.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Just like your last breakup, commitment is messy. Leave the chaos behind and find something new to hold on to with Rentosa. Discover subscriptions on tech, appliances, and more that will make your heart go bum, bum, bum. No red flags here, only green flags like month-to-month payments, 0 penalty fees, and the flexibility to upgrade or downgrade whenever. Not feeling the connection? No ghosting needed. Simply return it for something new that'll give you that spark you're looking for. Commitment is messy. Just Rentosa it. Download the app, visit the website, and join our WhatsApp channel.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Don't let colds and flu slow you down. Adcock Ingram Winter Warriors is here, your trusted defense against colds and flu symptoms. Be prepared for everything winter throws your way. Fight the pain and fever with Panado or Compro. Relieve your sore throat and coughs with Cepacol. And guard your immune system and gut with Gummy Bites and Probiflora. Adcock Ingram Winter Warriors. Your defense starts here. Ask your pharmacist about Adcock Ingram Winter Warriors.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
CEO at Capitec, Terry Fourie, he suggests we should include people who work in the informal sector in the category of employed.
We see a lot more activity in the informal economy, specifically the township economy, across all sectors that is driving economic behavior. And we think that if that's properly understood, then collectively we can work together as to say how to enable those industries to grow further.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the Africa Energy Forum 2025. Your story matters. ABSA is a registered FSP.
702.
Belief matters.
Exploring culture, traditions, religion,
and the beliefs that shape our world.
It's 10 to 2 and you're listening to Khabazela standing in for Relebogile Mabotja. And today on Belief Matters, we're talking about the body, life and legacy. So organ donation, sperm donation and egg donation. For some, it's a miracle, saving lives or helping create new ones. For others, it's taboo, something the culture or religion says you should never do or should never happen. So we're asking, why are organ, sperm and egg donations such sensitive topics in certain communities or cultures? What do our beliefs, spiritual or cultural, say about what we're allowed to do with our bodies or not? And on the line to unpack this with us this afternoon is Mabotja. He's a historian and founder of Darkopedia, and he is now joining us. Good afternoon, Mabotja, and thanks very much for joining us.
Sawubona Khabazela,
Unjan. Sharp. Thanks so much. I mean, this is a really interesting topic. So many, so angles and facets and cultural beliefs, and of course we've got so many cultures in South Africa. So
Africa, yes.
Yeah. So first of all, tell us a little bit about organ donation and egg and sperm donation, and why some cultures find it very taboo.
Khabazela and the listeners, good afternoon. And let me just start by saying, when it comes to African people, donations of organs, bodily organs, the physical organs, and blood, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because we view it as a contribution to saving lives. So we have got no qualms about that whatsoever, right? In any instance where a person helps the other in need, it is an appraisable, it is an act of kindness that is looked at it gets a lot of credit from how we view things, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are only issues when you donate sperms and eggs, and donations of sperms and eggs, we view it as incorrect in the premise of a South African law. What am I saying? I am saying that in South Africa, as per the law laid down by the Health Professionals Council of South Africa, people that donate sperms and eggs are afforded anonymity when doing that. So it only becomes a problem because there are certain rights that are taken away from the child by keeping the other parent anonymous, right? There are two key reasons for this, Khabazela and the listeners. One, spiritual reasons. There comes a time in everyone's life when the question of who are you must be answered incomplete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fully so. So if you're saying you are Khabazela, but you only know your mom because mommy went to the sperm bank years ago and had the whole procedure done and afforded daddy the anonymity, then Khabazela in 2025 does not get to know who his father is. This is a challenge spiritually because there comes a time in the life of an African person where they must go through certain rites of passage. And this must be done by their blood parents. And that is then violated by this practice, as per the auspices of the Health Professions Council in South Africa. The second instance where it is wrong, Khabazela and the listeners, very recently in the United States of America, a very, very popular case in law, popularly known as Roe versus Wade, the case law that gave us abortion and then very recently repealed abortion, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a very interesting line that the judge makes in that finding, Khabazela. The judge says the act takes away the rights of the fetus. It decides, it makes some decisions on behalf of the fetus, and that is a human rights violation. That is one of the grounds on which Roe versus Wade was overturned, and then abortion is now illegal in most of the states in America. So it is on those two instances, Khabazela, that donation of sperms and eggs, the way that we do it under law in South Africa, is incorrect. Are there any questions so far?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of, you know, if you are a woman who is reaching the stage where, you know, I hate to use the word, but the clock is ticking and you're running out of time. Running out of time. And you haven't found somebody, but you desperately want to have a child. There's a calling that you have to have a child. Then what, with the cultural beliefs, then what is your options? What can you then do?
In the cultures of the African people, Khabazela, we would arrange this with a person that is known. The same way when a married couple cannot conceive, Khabazela, and we have deducted that, it is maybe the female in the union, or maybe it's the male in the union. The African people have got a standing procedure to bring in help in those instances. But here's the benefit of it. The person is known. And that helps us in the instance when the child comes of age and those rites of passage needs to be executed. That person is known, and then they can participate in those rights for the child, and then a child has got a fulfilled life going further. So it can be arranged. If you are Khabazela, you feel you have not met a person, you're running out of time, there's Pachida right there. Pachida, I need help, right? We organize you, we're going to organize a person, and then the thing is done, there's a surrogate, and a child is born. That is done in Africa. It has been done. The only problem with the donations, as per the law in South Africa, is
the anonymity.
The anonymity afforded to the donor.
Right. Okay, so that clears it up. And then let's maybe touch a little bit on organ donation. So if I, you know, or someone passes away and they end up donating their heart, and it's in the will, somebody's put it in their will, and then maybe the family say, we want Sipho or Solomon to be buried whole. The body must be whole. What are the issues there?
Khabazela, in the context of the African mythologies, we don't have so much use for the body in the afterlife, truth be told. All that needs to happen when a person passes is that the safe passage of their spirit be allowed to cross over. So if Khabazela feels that he needs to donate his body to a university for research purposes, by all means, all that needs to happen is that Khabazela's family must be allowed time with the body to conduct the rituals that then guides Khabazela's spirit to the afterlife. When that is done, you can do all that you like with the body.
Right. Okay. So
that is how it works.
Yes. Okay. And in terms of, I wanted to go back on the arrangement, so to speak. Would sperm donation be allowed there as well? That's perfectly fine, right?
Khabazela, it generally happens in the form of an actual act of the people, committing the act.
Okay.
We come from backgrounds where, for example, some of our laws don't allow us to, can I say, I don't know if I can say jerk off online or on radio.
No, that's fine, yeah. If we get into trouble, it will be my head on the block, but hey.
We're not allowed to commit some of those acts. So in most cases, it would happen in the form of me being, if Khabazela and wife cannot concede, I would then be allowed some space with Khabazela's wife. And, that's the type of arrangement I would take.
Right.
Because we don't believe in putting things in tubes and needles and we don't go that far. It happens in the form of an actual act.
An actual act.
If we cannot help, if it's in my case and I'm married to my wife and we can concede, they would take brothers of mine from the bloodline because there's another blind spot there. People that help in terms of the child from the male side must be the person from the bloodline of that male person. Wow. So it will be my brothers.
Okay.
Yes.
Lovely. Well, I mean, we've run out of time here, but you have got so much in such little time, and I really appreciate that. And I think I've learned a lot here this afternoon.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you so much, and I would love to get you back on for a longer chat in the near future indeed. And thanks very much for joining us. That's Mabotja, historian and founder of Darkipedia.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance, we insure your businesses.
Future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses.
Financial security,
with Bright today. Contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright. Approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
Checkers XXL Savings is back with new deals every week. Save extra on Coca-Cola Original Soft Drink 1.5 litres, any 4 for 65 Rand, and Ariel Auto Liquid 2 litres, or capsules 14 or 21 per pack. Buy 3 and get the cheapest one free. Plus, stand to win the weekly XXL Jackpot competition. Simply buy any 3 participating products, swipe your extra savings card, and get a scratch card to enter. Deals valid until Sunday at Checkers.
Of course you could take the lift just one floor up. Or you could grab the new Berry Blue sports drink from Aquila Vive and get moving. Blue has never tasted so good. Bursting with bold berry flavor, packed with electrolytes and vitamins, and free from colorants. Aquila Vive sports and power drinks. Let's move.
In 2024, Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 gave away 200,000 Rand to one extraordinary small business that dared to reinvent, expand, and shake things up.
What I wanted now is that I wanted to start to manufacture my own emulsion, but the cost behind that, it was very huge. And then also through the 702, I was able to be given the money and also the exposure. I saw the 702 lenders coming, they bought the paint, people who were painting people's houses. It helps us actually in terms of improving our cash flow, and then a lot of money that we also got from this project, and then we were able to invest it. And then I can safely say that this accelerated the division of our emulsion.
In 2025, that small business owner could be you. So, if you're an SME that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Minister of Cooperative Governance, Velenkosini Hlabisa, says the relocation of families living along floodplains needs to be prioritized. Hlabisa made the comments in the Eastern Cape today, where inclement weather has left a trail of destruction. 57 people have been killed since heavy rain and flooding hit parts of the province this week. Disaster teams have been searching the affected areas, including the Colony Village and Joe Slovo, where most of the bodies have been recovered. On Tuesday, a minibus carrying school children was swept off the R61 bridge, and some of the children are still missing today. Hlabisa says municipalities will work to ensure that rebuilding takes place on safe ground.
Because these people were not allocated here by the municipalities, who should have considered the area where they are allocating people, and people decided to build on their own.
Staying in the Eastern Cape, Gift of the Givers says it's expanded operations in the province where thousands of people have been displaced. Due to extensive damage to the Butterworth water treatment plant, the town's water supply has been cut off. The humanitarian organization has since deployed 2 water tankers to assist the affected residents. The organization's Ali Sable says additional supplies and resources have been brought in from other provinces.
At the request of Acting Eastern Cape Police Commissioner Tandiswa Kapiso, Gift of the Givers has deployed 8 senior members of his search and rescue members to Umtata this morning. Our teams will work alongside the South African Police Services diving unit in bringing closure and retrieving those people that are reported missing.
We shift our focus to this now. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the country is making advances towards building the green hydrogen industry with more than 1.49 billion rand invested in hydrogen projects. He made the comments while delivering a keynote address at the Green Hydrogen Summit in Century City in Cape Town today. Ramaphosa says government has prioritized projects which include Sasol's High Shift program through its partnership with the European Union. Carlo Peterson has more.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says the High Shift program aims to produce up to 400,000 tons of sustainable aviation fuel annually.
Now, the High Shift program could anchor demand for up to 20 gigawatts of green hydrogen and represents a scalable model for industrial decarbonization.
Ramaphosa says the Sasolburg pilot project is producing green hydrogen for domestic use.
In the Eastern Cape, the Kruger Green Ammonia project is at an advanced planning stage for 4 additional flagship hydrogen projects that are expected to be submitted to Cabinet to be approved fairly soon.
He adds the expansion of the country's electricity transmission infrastructure is also being accelerated through an independent transmission projects office. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
Debate continues around the effectiveness of broad-based black economic empowerment, with some minority groups arguing the policy has failed to deliver its intended outcomes. A new study released by the think tank Free Market Foundation and minority lobby group Solidarity outlines the costs associated with triple BEE compliance. The report claims that the policy has primarily benefited a small group of elite black individuals while neglecting broader objectives. The findings were shared during a media briefing in Joburg earlier today. Alpha Ramushwana was there.
Previous studies estimate that South Africa's black middle class comprises between 4 to 6 million individuals with an annual spending power of more than 400 billion rand. Although this represents only a small portion of the overall black population, this growth is largely credited to inclusion efforts driven by triple BEE policies. Head of policy at the Free Market Foundation, Martin van Staden, argues that race has been used to benefit a specific group within society rather than promoting a more inclusive approach.
Race should not be the primary criterion or probably a criterion at all. People should be appointed based on merit.
Solidarity's report states that the growth of the black middle class is clear, but asserts that triple BEE has led to greater inequality within the white population. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
And the United States Embassy is partially evacuating the Iraqi embassy due to heightened security risk. According to reports, officials are anticipating that Iran could retaliate on certain U.S. sites in the country. The move comes as heightened tensions between America and Iran flare over a potential nuclear deal, which appears to have stalled now. The U.S. will move some of its non-military personnel out of the Middle East, including its embassy staff. Officials have also advised Americans to leave the region. Gold is trading at $3,374.60 an ounce. The rand is at 17.69 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.39 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $69.77 a barrel.
Leaving the Joburg CBD, traffic remains heavily backed up. This is heading towards the Rivoli area in the Amalgam area on the M2 westbound. This is between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road in Lombardy Estate, Pretoria. Traffic is sluggish approaching the intersection of Linwood Road and Solomon Mahlangu.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Minister of Cooperative Governance, Velenkosini Hlabisa, says the relocation of families living along floodplains needs to be prioritized.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 listens.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Nine minutes past 2 this afternoon. How are you doing? How's your day been so far? I hope it's been good. It's warming up a little bit, I must say. I mean, the last couple of days have been really, really cold and not pleasant at all. I mean, putting your pinky toe or your big toe out of your bed and from under the covers and it's like, ooh, shock. Put it back in is not pleasant in the morning, hey? But what can we do? It's part of the season. So I hope the day has been good. And thanks for tuning in. Really, really appreciate your ears this afternoon. One more hour left with me. It's Khabazela standing in for Relebogile Mabotja this afternoon. She's back on your radio tomorrow. So you've only got the next couple of, 50 minutes or so with me. But I must say it's always a pleasure standing in for her and having a chat with you. And coming up next is the Consumer Hour with Wendy Knowler.
702.
Knowler Knows.
Knowler Knows with the consumer ninja, Wendy Knowler. And today's story is a fascinating one and perhaps a egg on the face for the store who sold this guy an oven. So if you've gone to a electronic store and you've bought a device, you know, depending if it's a fridge or a washing machine or a big TV or whatever it may be, there's always the delivery. You can either arrange delivery yourself or they will arrange delivery for you. And I think some places, if it's within a certain radius or kilometer, they will do it for free, but others will charge. And, you know, it's like reluctant, do I have to pay that fee? But, you know, and sometimes you do because you think it's probably better, it'll be safer, and the responsibility is all theirs if anything goes wrong. And the guy that we're going to be chatting to today with Wendy, Mohammed, he lives in Bethlehem, but bought a oven from a store in Benoni. So that's quite a long distance. I mean, about 400 meters or so. And he was charged 1,500 Rand for the delivery, which to me sounds not too bad for that amount of kilometers. And then when the oven was delivered, there was a surprise that he found. And I wonder if you have got similar stories when it comes to this. So, Wendy, you're on the line and joining us this afternoon. So good to chat to you. How are you doing?
Hi, Khabazela. Always good to chat to you. Yes, and well summarized there. It was quite an interesting case, I must say. So first of all, I want to say, because you mentioned TVs in particular, I really, really urge our listeners, if you buy a big flat screen TV, pay the extra for the delivery. Don't try and put it behind the seats in your car, in the back of your bakkie. They are very specialized pieces of equipment, electronics, and they break. Those screens are incredibly delicate. And if you put pressure in the certain spots on the edges of the screen while you're putting it into your car or getting it out of the car and into your lounge or wherever, it will break. And so many times, I mean, the Consumer Goods and Services Ombuds warns about this regularly because they also get these cases, as I do. The person will say that you know, they got it home and they didn't do anything and it's broken and the store won't give them a refund. Because now, where's the proof? You know, they put it on in the store, they normally do, and say, look here, just see everything's working. This is why they do it if you're taking it in your own car, your own vehicle. And then if you come back later and say it's broken, they're going to go, well, sorry, here's the CCTV footage of us opening it, taking it, sliding it out of the packaging and showing you, plugging it in and showing you that it's working. So please, it's really worth that extra. I think the Massmart group, for example, calls it the white glove delivery thing, especially for TVs. And as you said quite rightly, the liability sits with them until the moment they deliver it to you. So
good advice there.
I really, really, I get so many complaints, and so does the Ombud. So really, that is very key advice. Okay, so to get on today's case, you're right. So Mohammed lived, you said 400 meters, obviously 400 kilometers plus away, and live radio will get you. And So he was very happy, it has to be said, when he bought this 22,000 Rand Bosch oven from Masons and Benoni. He was very happy to pay the 1,500 Rand delivery fee. He thought, well, it's a bit of a distance. It was disclosed on the invoice. Happy days, fine. What went wrong for him and the retailer ultimately is that the transport company, basically he had sight of the invoice.
Oh.
And so that's how he learned that the retailer had actually paid this third-party transport company 500 Rand to get the TV to him from the store. So that
they
is,
put 1,000 Rand markup.
Khabazela?
Hey?
Yeah, 1,000 out of 1.5. So in other words, they earned 2/3 of what? 2/3 more than what he had actually, what the actual cost was.
Yeah.
So more than double, right?
Because, I mean, 500 Rand.
But I know that's a lot more, yes.
Yeah, well, 500 Rand for 400 kilometers is actually very little.
I think, well, I'm not sure, because nobody, when I took up the case, actually mentioned the distance, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
the point is,
yeah, go ahead.
It only cost the company 500 Rand, right? So now the question becomes, yes, they disclosed the fee, but he didn't know what the markup was. The question becomes, is that a reasonable markup? And I think most reasonable people would say, no, that's extortionate.
Yeah.
And then the question for me became, then what is the norm? What do other companies do? And so I got hold of a few of the other retailers of different sizes, and it was actually a really interesting exercise. So let me just carry on with how what happened here. So he said, when he brought this up with one of the directors, Ashraf, he said, and the salesman later phoned him back and said, the company's willing to refund you 600 Rand. And he said, no, I don't think it's fair that you make a profit on the delivery charge. I want a refund of 1,000 Rand. And that wasn't going to happen. And so he contacted me, and I then emailed the company to say, is making a markup on the delivery fee justified, bearing in mind that they're making a markup on the goods themselves, right?
Yes.
Obviously, they're not charging what the wholesaler charges them, because they've got a business to run and rent to pay and all the rest, of course. But I said, anyway, so the response was, and I also said, what is your standard markup percentage on the transport suppliers fee? Is this a standard percentage markup? And the response I got was the client did agree to the delivery fee of 1,500 at the time of the sale agreement, and he was happy to proceed. We negotiated a better rate then with the courier, and as a result, quote, was determined as extra margin for the company. The courier company issued a receipt to the client instead of sending it to us, and that's when the client was aware of the courier fee. We agreed, although at the time when the sale was concluded, he was in agreement with 1,500 Rand. The client can also verify this. So I went back and said, that's not a dispute. He knowingly paid 1,500.
Yes.
It's not the point. The point is the margin that was added. Anyway, the good news is, as a courtesy, says Masons, and reviewing your feedback and in the interest of maintaining our commitment to customer satisfaction, we're happy to offer the client a refund for the difference. And Mohammed confirmed to me this morning that he has received his 1,000 Rand refund. So he's happy.
That's good. Yeah, well done.
In parallel, I heard from another Masons director, Imran, who justified the 1,000 Rand markup by saying that the amount covered the company's costs of handling, packaging, and administrative overheads. He says there's standard practices in many businesses and that were factored in to the agreed price. People don't realize from the outside that there are plenty of shipping costs that we lose on and absorb the costs in-house. I wish there was a complaints department for that. A lot of companies say that to me, actually. So yes, I get their costs, though, should be and are reflected in the markup on the goods themselves, the difference between the wholesale and the retail price. What we're talking about here is the delivery, and it's a separate service, yes, but a markup of whatever percentage from 500 to 1,500. I don't think most reasonable people would find that fair. Anyway, he said, we acknowledge that the courier receipt may have caused confusion, you think, and we regret any misunderstanding. while the difference reflects our handling and service margin, we want to maintain a good relationship with our customers, so that's why we're refunding. So I thought, as I said, Khabazela, that it would be a good time to ask other retailers, by way of comparison, if they put markups on the transport prices that their third-party delivery agents charge them for these large appliances that people buy in store and can't take home themselves, or shouldn't in the case of TVs. So just a quick whip around. Do we need to take a break, or can I?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, Wens, and then when we come back, we'll find out what some of the other retailers have had to do with these markups.
Kickstart your small business with a starter bundle from Nedbank. Enjoy free transactions for 6 months, including free cash deposits and withdrawals and a free debit card with easy digital access and a dedicated banker to guide you along every step of the way. Open a Nedbank starter bundle with SA's best bank for SMEs. Apply on the Money app today. Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Foxfest deals are back. Get a free upgrade to the Polo Vivo Life when you buy a new Polo Vivo and pay 0% deposit. Get more features at no extra cost. Buy it now and only pay 3 months later. Offer valid only through Volkswagen Financial Services. Looking for something sportier? The stylish T-Cross is yours from just 399,900 Rand. These Foxfest deals won't last. Visit your nearest dealer today or visit vw.co.za.
Timber, have you filed your business tax return?
Joe. With My Way Business Insurance, I get My Business Assist, which gives me loads of benefits. They assist in filing my taxes, so no long queues. Plus, I get tender notifications, marketing services, and more to help me elevate my hustle.
They do what?
Yeah, bo. Thanks to My Way, now I have time to focus on the real deal, which is growing my business.
Move to My Way Business Insurance today and get covered to do business your way. Visit myway.co.za for a quote. My Business Assist is a value-added product. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Girls and Boys Town isn't just a children's home. It's where broken childhoods find a second chance. Tomorrow on 702 Drive with John Pillman, we'll shine a light on the work of Girls and Boys Town South Africa to find out to find out it takes to create a place of deep healing, structure and love for children in need. This meaningful discussion is brought to you by the Dis-Chem Foundation. Remember, when you swipe your Dis-Chem or Baby City benefit card, you help support life-changing initiatives like Girls and Boys Town. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
702.
Knowler knows.
It is 21 minutes past 2. You're listening to Khabazela, and we're talking to our consumer ninja, Wendy Knowler, about a story of transport for a oven from Benoni to Bethlehem. The charge was 1,500 Rand, and when the item was delivered, the customer, Mohammed, found out that there was 1,000 Rand markup on the delivery. And Wendy has investigated this, got the 1,000 Rand back for Mohammed, and has now gone to the other retailers to find out what their markups are, if any. Over to you, Wens.
Thanks, Khabazela. Okay, so Mass Smart, I started there. A lot of people buy the appliances, game, macro builders. No markup was the simple response there. Pepcore Lifestyle, most people won't be aware of that brand, but it's Russell's, Bradlow's, Rochester, Sleep Masters, Incredible Connection, and Hi-Fi Corp. The answer was a bit more nuanced. The majority of our deliveries, I was told, including those involving furniture and large appliances, are handled through our internal supply chain and warehouse network, so they're not outsourcing. And then they say the delivery charges on the furniture side vary based on, obviously, the delivery location, whether it's within major metro areas or not, the type of order, if it's a standard order, a special order, or a custom order, the weight and dimensions of the purchase order, special delivery promotions where the product price or total may influence the delivery rate. I think that's key there. If you see something big that you're going to need to get delivered to you and it's on a really good special, just check what the delivery cost is, because sometimes you might find the one offsets the other. And then for smaller appliances and digital products, they use courier services, including our own internal courier team called Scooch. They don't apply a markup to courier fees. Standard delivery rates are in place, as with most retailers. So it's not on that exact parcel. In fact, if you've got a bigger parcel, you'll be getting it for a lot less, paying a lot less for delivery fees than you would if you had to outsource it rather. And this I thought was interesting. To ensure our customers receive the most cost-effective service possible, we are actively working on bringing more of our courier-based deliveries in-house. So obviously there won't be a markup there. And just to give you an idea of the kind of rates we're talking about here, for Hi-Fi Corp, for example, large appliances, so that's beds, portable inverters, generators, sports equipment, etc., 220 Rand, which is, I think, reasonable. Large items, DIY and furniture, 300 Rand. I went to Tafelberg Furnishers, which has 10 branches in the Western, 10 branches altogether, 9 in the Western Cape, and they do have 1 in Roodepoort. It doesn't add a markup to its third-party delivery fees. Hirsch's gave me an interesting answer. Margaret Hirsch said, in 1994, we sold all our trucks to our drivers at a very nominal fee and allowed them to pay them off over a period of time. They then started them in their own, we then rather started them in their own businesses, and those businesses are still running today, 30 years later. Some of them have even got second and third generation family members working in their businesses. I thought that was really interesting.
That's really good,
interesting, and I had no idea. Yeah. She says, so they are subcontractors. We give them the work. We take a small percentage for ourselves. She didn't elaborate on what she meant by small. For ourselves, and this works incredibly well for us and them. She says delivery is a cost and it's a service that we sell. We feel that delivery is a service like any other service provided by retailers to their customers, and therefore we have every right to charge for it and place a markup on it. Customers must, though, have full sight of the delivery price and all other product and service prices upfront before payment, therefore can not to proceed with the purchase. Delivery has become a very competitive element of retail now, and most retailers are making a net loss on total delivery costs. Like any other product or service provided, the cost to the retailer should not have to be disclosed to the customer. So she's saying it's the same as with the stove. They're not telling you, okay, we're charging you 22,000 and this was our wholesale cost. I'm talking about masons now. But I suppose that is a relevant argument. She's saying they put a small markup on, so I would imagine it wouldn't be a 50 Rand delivery, a 500 Rand delivery fee, actual cost to company, then becoming 1,500 Rand to the actual customer. She says, I hope this puts some light on the subject. I think people have to realize that delivery is a service you need, and you obviously can't get 100,000 Rand TV into a car. And she's reiterating what I said at the beginning. People who do take stuff in their car often break them and then they come back wanting a new one, and you obviously can't give it to them. So it becomes a problem. So for me, the bottom line is, when you're shopping around for best prices, it does then pay to query the delivery fee. You're not going to necessarily, unless someone shows you an invoice by mistake, you're not going to know if there's a markup and what the markup is. But especially if you're searching online and you find a really good price on something, I would say in those cases it's a good idea then to have a look at what you're going to pay. Obviously, if it's a large item that you're going to need to pay for delivery on, it's obviously then pays to just have a quick look at that before you check out and pay, because you might find that they making a nice layer of profit back on the cost of getting it to your home.
Yeah, I mean, you could find the TV the same price at any other retailer, and then the difference comes down to the delivery cost. And that's why I think Margaret Hirsch's response out of all the responses was actually very, very, very good, because probably the retailers are making a loss here to try and win that business over. So I want to put that out there to you. If you have bought a electronic goods TV, whether it's a washing machine, fridge, couches, whatever it may be, how do you navigate the delivery cost? Do you try and go for the cheapest retailer with the delivery cost if the items are the same? Or do you try and organize your own? Wendy said in the beginning, go along with the retailer's delivery if it's a flat screen TV, big screen TV, because if anything goes wrong when you receive it, it falls back on you. I mean, I remember when I bought a TV also from Hirsch's, and I think I didn't pay any delivery fee, I must say, because it was in a certain radius. I mean, I'm not too far from there, from the Lone Hill branch, and I got it for nothing, which I thought was quite nice.
That's interesting that Margaret didn't mention that it's free within a small radius.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a couple of years ago, but maybe it's changed. But that was my experience there. But it's such an interesting one about the delivery fees, and I mean, should they be putting a markup? I wonder what people think. Are you happy with them putting a markup on the delivery, or should it just be a net cost at the end of the day? That's a couple of questions.
I think my personal view, just before we go to news, is that a small markup is reasonable and fine. I don't know what small would be, but it certainly wouldn't be 3 times what it costs you. I think when it's becoming really, a profiteering exercise, I don't think that most fair-minded people would find that reasonable.
Yes.
But I think there's nothing wrong with a small, because there is some logistics and arrangement involved there. I just think, a large markup, I don't think is justifiable.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that one. It's almost time for news, but if you have any questions or comments on what we've been talking about, please do send them to 072 702 1702 and on the phone lines 011 883 0702. We've also got access to Wendy if you've got any consumer issue that you've been struggling with. Now, you must have tried to sort out the issue yourself, and maybe you've now hit brick walls. Give us a call if Wendy maybe can assist with that one. But right now it's 2:30 and time for the news headlines with Mbali.
Thanks, Jono. A very good afternoon. We begin in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape, where the family of a 14-year-old boy who died when his scholar transport was swept away by floodwater is now seeking answers. Siabuya Mkachani was on a minibus taxi carrying 13 learners when it was swept away on the R61 bridge on Tuesday. The vehicle and some of the bodies of the children have now been recovered, while search operations continue for those who are still missing. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen has moved to assure consumers that the country's red meat is safe to eat. This comes as the department prepares for the mass vaccination of cattle to contain an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. The outbreaks in Gauteng, KZN and Mpumalanga have put the brakes on exports to China. And the UK Foreign Office says it has arranged crisis teams in India and the UK following a commercial plane crash today. An Air India aircraft with 242 passengers on board crashed in Gujarat while on its way to London. The UK government says over 50 of those on board the aircraft were British nationals. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards Rivoli, there's still slow-moving traffic on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also in the Irene area, traffic is a bit sluggish. This is on Naumay Pierce Drive, approaching Main Road. Lombardy Estate, still in Tshwane, traffic sluggish, approaching the intersection of Linwood Road and Solomon Mahlangu. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Groenkloof at Christina de Wit and UFS Mvangeli Nzuza. Will have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 3.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's a tough day for Mark. Tight deadlines and challenges everywhere. But Mark can rest easy, because when he bought his Hino 700 2845 truck tractor, he received a complimentary service plan covering up to 210,000 kilometers for short haul and up to 280,000 kilometers for long haul. Nice one, Mark. Visit your dealer today to find out more about this limited time offer. Hino, all the way. T's and C's apply.
It took time to create the life you've built. Every milestone, every moment, you've earned it. Indra takes the time to understand what's priceless to you, tailoring insurance to match a life of distinction. True peace of mind comes from knowing that everything you've worked for is insured with precision. It starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindra.co.za. Indra Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
Are you in your deal-making season? Your I'm on the rise season? your finer things in life season. You'll love the Hassa Grill seasonal lunch offer. Enjoy a 2-course meal for only 199 Rand. Perfect for that business lunch, lunch with friends, or a solo date for some quality time with self. Now that's the deal of the season. Available Monday to Saturday, 12 to 4 p.m. The Hassa Grill, celebrating 60 years of excellence.
In 2024, Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 gave away 200,000 Rand to one extraordinary small business that dared to reinvent, expand, and shake things up.
What I wanted now is that I wanted to start to manufacture my own emulsion, but the cost behind that, it was very huge. And then also through the 702, I was able to be given the money and also the exposure. I saw the 702 lenders coming, they bought the paint, people who were painting people's houses. It helps us actually in terms of improving our cash flow, and then a lot of money that we also got from this project, and then we were able to invest it. And then I can safely say that this accelerated the division of our emulsion.
In 2025, that small business owner could be you. So, if you're an SME that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
25 minutes to 2, John Perlman's just walked into the studio. Afternoon, John.
Afternoon. Good afternoon to all the listeners.
Yeah, good, man. So maybe you caught the beginning of the show when you were
did.
driving through, and a massive response to the question that we posed, and interesting kind of thread, which for most of the responses from our listeners. And the question was, why are so many parents not affectionate with each other in front of their children? And, taking you back to when you were a young John Perlman growing up, do you ever remember your parents being affectionate with each other in front of you and your siblings?
Not terribly, I must say. My father was always last one home.
Okay.
Although once my mom started working, it was kind of 50-50, but he'd always walk in and there'd be a little kiss on the forehead or, so there was that. But no, not especially so. Here's an interesting thing, though.
Yeah.
Once they got older,
yes,
and obviously we all had our own lives and so on, they came to Joburg because they weren't living in Joburg anymore. They'd moved to the Southern Cape. They came to Joburg for things like my niece's bat mitzvahs and my sister's 30th or whatever. There were parties where there'd be music.
Yeah.
And they got on the dance floor and they would kind of do, it wasn't quite lang arm, but whatever was playing, they'd do not a kind of a slow shuffle.
Yes.
But it was contact dancing,
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and they'd be on there. I remember they stepped on the floor and then Nkalakata came on or something like that. And I thought, how's this going to go, But they found a beat that made sense to the two of them. I never saw them stumble or crash. So I suppose all that showed me was that they had a whole life that we didn't know about. But to your question, from the bits I heard, very similar to
some of our listeners.
With the listeners.
Yeah, fascinating, I must say. I can't get this vision of your parents dancing to Nkalakata out of my head, but tell us what's happening on the show.
Nor can I, actually. I'm going to have to collect myself. No, but I, as you can see, it puts a huge...
I saw that. You had a huge smile on your face.
On my face. So that was something I learned about them, which I really liked. So, look, there's a lot going on. And Nhlanhla Mabotja was watching the AKA murder case. Very, very brief resumption, but we're going to find out, often things happen in the court without it happening in the formal proceedings. We'll check that out with him. 2 by-elections in Mpumalanga. That was interesting in the main election, well, not the main, but the provincial and national elections last year, just how well the MK party did, really cutting into ANC support, particularly in Zulu-speaking sections of that province. Wayne Sussman gives us his thoughts. Edible insects. The University of Pretoria has done a big study on that.
Yeah.
All sorts of insects, I think mopani worms would be, very much in people's minds. But they've looked at all sorts of other stuff that can be eaten and how you prepare it and so on.
So much protein in some of these insects as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it chimes with when we were talking about sayings, morogo versus a locust, at least the locust has some protein. So we'll pick up on that a little bit later in the show, 10 to 4. Interesting couple of articles by energy analyst Lungile Mashele, who is looking at how the best solutions are going to come if we think regionally. So Mozambique has hydro and has a fair amount of natural gas. Namibia has huge renewable potential and lots of natural gas as well. And that our thinking ought to be much more SADC than just South Africa. It's a nice way to look at it, and I'm hoping we'll learn something from that. And of course, whatever the listeners come up with, you never know.
Yeah, I love it. Can't wait to consume it as a listener this afternoon, rather than behind the booth in the producer's booth. But that's John Pillman live from 3 o'clock this afternoon.
702.
Knowler knows.
So we're talking to Wendy Knowler. It's 20 minutes to 3 o'clock, and we'll get to some of your calls now with regards to some of the consumer issues that you have. But let's take a listen to one or two voice notes here, maybe reacting to the issue we had with the delivery costs from retailers.
Hi, Relebogile. It's Emma from Pretoria here.
Hi.
I just want to find out what happens in a situation where I buy a car on finance and unfortunately it gets into an accident and is written off and insurance does not pay to cover for getting it done. So what happens when I no longer pay for the car, but the car is at a garage? Can the bank repossess that vehicle from the garage, even though it's written off?
When so bought the car
Yeah.
and had an accident, and I mean, how do you handle that one?
Okay, so there are two separate contracts that you have here. If you're financing a car, you have the finance agreement with the bank, which you agreed that you were going to pay whatever, 5,000 Rand a month for 6 years, sometimes with a balloon payment, sometimes not, preferably not. And you, whatever happens to that car, whether it's written off, whether it's stolen, whatever happens, you are still responsible to the bank to keep up those payments, to keep paying that 5,000 Rand until month 72, unless you settle early, right? The banks do require you to have comprehensive insurance on the car while they are still financing it, because what they don't want to happen is what you're sitting with now is that you have an incident, a smash or a theft, and you don't have the coverage of insurance, and then you probably don't have the means then to pay off the bank. So that's why they insist on it. But they're not reckoning on your claim being repudiated. And that, for me, is the most interesting part of your story, is that why was you're paying for comprehensive insurance, you had an incident, what was the reason for the claim being repudiated? Because I take up many of these cases every month. So, but the bottom line is, yes, the bank has every right. If you're not paying them, they have every right to repossess the car or ask you to surrender it, which would be a lot cheaper for you in terms of legal fees, etc. And for them then to recover whatever costs they can from the car. But here's the horrible part. If there's a shortfall, and there often is if the car is fairly new under finance, you still owe the bank the balance. If what they get on auction for the car doesn't cover what you still owe them, the amount that you agreed to pay them off over 6 years, then they come looking for you for that amount. I got a case this morning, Khabazela, where someone, he says it was with one of the major car finance banks, and he says the car was repossessed 3 years ago. They never got hold of him. They always say that. I'm not sure that's actually the case, or maybe they missed the email. But now the debt collectors are coming after him for this huge debt. It was a Hyundai H1 bus, if I recall, and he doesn't have the money. And what can he do? I mean, this is the problem. So, the only thing I could do in this case is say, let me have a look at that repudiation and see if there's any means that I can see of challenging it, that insurance rejection of the claim.
Sometimes when you take out the insurance, if you've bought a brand new car, they'll say to you, do you want the top-up insurance? So in the event that if you, God forbid, do have an accident or the car is written off in the first month or two, that shortfall is covered, and then you can always cancel the top up, 2-3 months later where things will have normalized. Do you recommend people take the top up insurance at the beginning?
Yes, I do. And I think you should take over the show because I should have said that myself. But thank you. Very, very good advice and advice that I do normally give. Yeah. So that gives you a little bit more protection. You'll pay a higher premium, but it's worth it. Okay.
So that's that one. So she's responsible as it stands to make those payments.
Yeah, but can I say in this case she had a repudiated claim, so that wouldn't have been a factor. It would have still left her high and dry. That's presuming that your claim when you make it is a valid claim.
Okay. Let's take a listen to a quick voice note and then we'll take some more calls. Wendy?
Hi, Khabazela. I disagree with Wendy. I think the retailer must decide whether he's a logistics company or whether he's a furniture or whatever selling company. If they're making a profit on their actual goods, then they're not supposed to be making a profit on the delivery. The delivery must be at what the cost is. If they're paying 500 rands, they must charge 500 rands. Why are they making a profit on the delivery? That's not their business. It's like if I'm a doctor and I charge my patient for seeing him, and then I have sweets in my room and I give the child a sweet and say, oh, by the way, that's 1 rand for the sweet. I mean, that's rubbish. I give the sweet as a courtesy to the child, for being a good child while I examine him. It's not exactly the same thing, maybe, but it's a good analogy, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you for that.
Yeah,
I've got a better analogy. And as I say, some companies don't add a markup. I think it's an individual decision, or whatever you want to go, and maybe you just want to look at the fee itself, and you not care you're not fussed what went into it. If you can afford it, you think it's fair, you pay it or not. But I think a better analogy, and I'm glad you mentioned the GP, because their core business is to dispense and give you the benefit of their medical advice and training and expertise. But if you, for insurance purposes or whatever, need to get your medical history from your doctor, and it's very advisable that you do, they can, according to the Medical Schemes Act, charge you a fee for that, and the fee is actually not capped. It's a certain maximum, whatever. So I get a lot of complaints about this, and the doctors say it takes a time and energy, and we can't get our admin people to do it because the Act says that I, as the practicing doctor, need to do it, and that's my time and skill as well, and so I'm going to charge you, and so they do. And in the same vein, retailers are saying, yes, if you come into the store and you buy the goods and you take them away yourself, that's fine. There's no delivery fee. We haven't had to provide a service. If we provide a service, we're liaising with the contractor and whatever, and we may then add a small. I think the key word is small. This is not, and for each retailer, I suppose, that chooses to add a markup, it's not, their idea of small is going to be quite specific to them. But I think that is a more comparable analogy there. I mean, some of the big guys don't they will absorb it, but some of the smaller players will argue and say, just with online purchases that are then delivered, your Takealot group will, to some extent, they're kind of changing their ways a little, offer free delivery with terms and conditions. And the smaller players, the net florists, so that they are saying that's not a viable business model because there's an actual cost to us. It's a huge cost. You can imagine the cost of fuel and vehicles and all the rest. And so it's they will, most of the smaller players will go out of business if they don't charge a delivery fee. In fact, all of them will. It's just not sustainable. So it's a really interesting issue, and I think the point is to get the information out there. Knowledge is power, and then you make an informed decision about who you'll support or not in terms of their delivery fees.
Well, shop around at the end of the day for the delivery fee if
the
prices are the same. Let's go to the lines, Wen. See, we're running out of time here, so if you've got some issue that you want Wendy to look at, WhatsApp us 072-702-1702 or get us on the 011-883-0702 line. This Mabena from Benoni. Good afternoon to you, Mabena.
Hi, Khabazela and Wendy, the ninja consumer.
Go ahead, Mabena.
Yes. Wendy, I've got a challenge here. In 2022, I was involved in an accident. In fact, someone bumped me behind. Then on the scene...
So their fault.
Sorry? Yes, that was their fault. And then he phoned their superiors. They came to the scene. Then they told me that I must go to the hospital. And I'm okay. I must come back to them and see them. I went to see them. When I got there, they sent me to the panel beater. I went there to the panel beater, I think 3 times. Then on the 4th time, in fact, when I went to the panel beater, they said to me, no, they took my information and they say, as you can see, our panel beater is full. We will call you. Then I went back 3 times. On the 4th time, I went to him, to the people, and I told them that I went there 3 times. Then they couldn't assist me. They always take my information. Then they said they will call me. So what's the way forward? Then the guy said, let's go see them. We went there, and when we got there, they checked the damage and everything. Then they took my information. Then they said, we will call you. That was in 2022. Up until today, I'm still waiting for them.
No.
Sure.
Okay,
Wens,
so
let's...
I don't know if you can
take
help me with that.
Wens, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, you can answer
Sure.
that one for Mabena. It's not Mabena from
Okay.
the SANDF. Remember him? I will... Mabena, disappoint me today, Mabena. Let's take an ad break.
Carol, hello.
Hello, Carol. Smart Steve from Momentum here. Can I interest you in a 35% discount on your life insurance premiums?
35% discount. I thought you left your tricks in the past, Steve.
I have, and that's exactly where you should leave your step counting.
But I get a free coffee every week for doing 10,000 steps daily.
Sounds like a long walk to nowhere.
Steve.
Sorry, but with us, you can unlock up to 35% discount without counting steps.
Impressive, Smart Steve.
Just chat with your financial advisor about Momentum Life Returns to save on your life insurance premiums. Momentum, protecting your journey to success. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. Victory demands everything, but the journey is never solo. My team carves the way, data and innovation are my compass. This is how today's champions are made.
Drive your success and trade like a champion. CFI, a global leading broker now in South Africa. Access over 15,000 instruments, advanced trading tools, 24/7 support, and superior trading services. Visit cfi.trade today. CFI Financial is an authorized financial services provider.
CFI, empower yourself.
Every small business owner knows that you've got to dream big to achieve even bigger. And Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all the SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent, expand, and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dreams. So, if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Knowler knows.
Right, Wendy, let's go back to Mabena's issue. If you could just maybe summarize the issue and then respond.
Okay, well, I need to ask a question quickly. I take it, you didn't have your own insurance. Is that right, Mabena?
No, I didn't have insurance.
Okay, and was it a company driver that hit into you? Because you were talking about them and they, and what was the situation there?
It was their, what do you call it, their driver. Because it's a dealership, it's a big dealership.
Okay, and were they trying to make a plan to kind of fix it quietly with the panel beater? They obviously weren't wanting to put through a third-party claim with their own insurance. That doesn't sound like.
And according to my understanding, or out of everything, I thought maybe they didn't want to help me, or they didn't want to fix my car.
Okay, so this is like a civil matter now, but there's nothing to lose. Are you still driving the same car with the same damage 3 years later?
Yes, I'm still driving it.
Okay, so it's not mechanical because it was at the back, because just your car doesn't look so lekker, right?
Yes, it's a bakkie. I've lost a lot because I
it's a bakkie.
Yes, to go to farming with it. So
Okay.
I can't do anything with it now.
Okay, so if you take some photos of the damage and give me whatever information you had from 2022 when it happened, and obviously the company's name and email address of one of the managers or directors or owners or whatever, I can certainly send an email and say this is not right. What was the repair quote? Do you know? You never got one?
They didn't give me any.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I suggest in the meantime, before you write to me, Mabena, just go to some middle of the road kind of panel beaters and ask them for a quote. Yeah, panel beater, ask for a quote.
All right, cool. Mabena, I hope that helps. We're going to put you back to Pashida. She'll take your details down, and then we'll connect you with Wendy, and the team will follow up and hopefully get an outcome for you on this one. Thanks, Mabena.
Thanks, Jono.
All right, my buddy. Cheers. Let's go to Cynthia from Cape Town. Also a car issue. We got all the car issues coming out here.
Always.
Cynthia, good afternoon to you. You are live on air with Wendy.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Cynthia in Cape Town. My problem is I bought a car in March. I saw it online, those shops. Then I contacted the dealership in Joburg. Then if they show me, they take the pictures of the car, we do video calls. Then the model of the car, it was 2024, it was only having 5,000 kilometers. It was new. So I was happy with that. Then I make a payment on the 10th of March. Then they send the car, but it was delivery.
Cynthia, that line is breaking up. We'll put you back to Pashida and see if we can get you on a better line. And if we don't have the time, then we will connect you with Wendy via email, because we could hardly hear what was happening on that line. So apologies about that one. Wendy, looking at some of the WhatsApps coming through here, we were mentioning about top-up insurance earlier if you're buying a new car. Somebody wants to know if top-up insurance is the same as shortfalls cover.
You're asking me a technical question now. I think there might be a difference. Essentially, what you want to do is avoid a situation where there's a shortfall between what you are paid out by insurance and then what it'll actually cost you to replace the model like for like, for whatever reason. So I think that's essentially what you're looking at. Then there's the other scenario we're talking about, and I'm live radio is not a good time for me to be thinking aloud. Yeah. But the other scenario is if that scenario where you the car is, what was the scenario that you mentioned? If the
so what if you buy a new car?
If there's a white if the car is if the car is repossessed, and you, I don't know if there is an insurance product for this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The car is repossessed, the proceeds of the bank auction doesn't cover what you still owe the bank. Is there a product that covers that? I'm going to have to get my ducks in a row with top-ups and shortfalls and come back possibly with an insurance expert who will give it advice on what you should look for with that kind of safety net. And I don't want to confuse the listeners or give them a wrong advice. So I'm going to go and off air quietly research that and come back with exact information in next week's show.
I think it'll be a nice one to look at in terms of those types of insurances that can look at the difficulties that you can find yourself in if you've had an accident after you've just left the showroom or repossession, whatever it may be. So I think that's a nice one for you and the team to look at maybe next week.
And can I say one final thing, just based on what Cynthia was starting to say? And I have these almost every day. I had one earlier today. Often Cape Town, Durban people looking at one of these car websites where they have all sorts of dealerships, cars on there, your cars.co's, your auto traders. And they see a car and they do this. Let's send some photos, maybe a video, leka. Yes, no accident happened, no, fine. please don't buy a car like that. And then they put it on a carrier and get it to you. You must have it. If you're not going to, I'm saying test drive it yourself or send an expert at the very least.
Yeah.
One of these companies that do checks so that you're not buying blind, because what a financial nightmare. And I get so many of these. Please, long distance car buying without checks is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
Please don't do that.
Absolutely, Wens. Thanks so much for chatting to us this afternoon. Really interesting angles. And you'll be back next week, Thursday, with the team between 2 and 3.
Indeed.
It's more than just a day at the races. It's a celebration of South African sound and soul. At the 129th Hollywood Bits Durban July, the party starts with Zolani Mahola's powerful performance of the national anthem and keeps going with Lira, Mafiki Zolo, Good Luck, DJ Zintle, Hot Water, Lee Cole, Matt Davies and Tim Lewis, Sunset Sweat Shop and DJ Deluxe. Racing action, fashion, music, dancing. The marvels of Mzansi come to life on Saturday, 5th July at Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse. Be part of the celebration. Get your tickets now at Ticket Pro. The Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
Dear Journal, adulting, day 3,700 and whatever. Just bought a bunch of supplements I can't pronounce to try and fix my sleep schedule. What a game changer. So chuffed I spotted them when I was doom scrolling at 11:53 p.m.
Finally learning about mental health. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's convenient and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be in your car or home or office this afternoon. Really, really appreciate all your calls, WhatsApps and interactions on the show. And I'll catch you tomorrow on What's Gone Viral with Khabazela on Bongani's show. Right now, 3 o'clock and time for Eyewitness News with Mbali Dlamini.
This is EWN.
Government sends condolences to victims of the Eastern Cape flooding, and the Agriculture Minister says red meat in the country is safe to eat. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape.